So, welcome to the news segment, April 23rd. Thankfully, we realized it pretty early. Dan, you're drinking some liquor, right?
Yes, sir.
What
Vodka
what
Thanks,
kind
soda.
Tito.
what kind of vodka?
Stoli.
Stoli. All right. Nick,
Yep.
what are you drinking over there?
Uh, Modern Times
Modern Times Coffee
and
Stout
312 Goose
and
Island.
312 Goose Island. Of course, you can see some variants of those coming out. Wendy, what are you drinking?
Well, in sticking with my Women in Beer series that I've been trying to do, I am drinking a Brewery Vivant Farmhand because I recently learned that Brewery Vivant, the president and brainchild of Brewery Vivant is Chris Spalding. And so I was kind of excited to find out that this was a woman owned brewery. I had no idea until I started doing my research. So, Brewery Vivant, I'm checking it out.
All right, Robert, what are you listening to? What are you drinking?
So during that last part of the segment, I switched off and was drinking the Bell's Bourbon Barrel Age Expedition Stout. That is now gone.
The based out, as they call it.
Exactly. I still have my Northern Aquavit. This is the cask conditioned Northern Aquavit, and was going to crack open the double white coffee stout from Eastern Market Brewing Company.
I I loved that cask conditioned aquavit. I'm trying to figure out what episode they were on because when we had Northern Aquavit 247, so 4 months ago, damn, we had Northern Aquavit in the studio, the virtual studio that is. Um, but for me, I am drinking from Griffin Claw. I had a friend pick up some blah blah blurst.
Ooh.
Now, I'm gonna be honest, and I told Kyle, a friend of the show, um, I
Caillou.
Kyle,
Oh, I thought you said Caillou. Sorry.
no Kyle, this does not taste as I remember, but I also remember we were hammered that night. But I also remember that I drank it another day because I brought home a crowler of it. So you know, it tastes better than I remember when I retasted it, but this does not have the flavor profile that I recall. And I want to bring it to you guys as a question before we get to the news because I love having conversations with you guys. I can't tell you how many times, how many times have you hyped up a beer in your head or remembered a flavor and when you tasted it again, it does not taste the same. Um, but the question to you guys is that when that happens and you put a beer on a pedestal, you know, remember CBS how it was not yearly in the like in 2018 the last time it was brewed in 2014. Not to bring up founders, Rob, sorry,
Not racist, but
but
yeah, continue.
I mean it was pre-racism. It was when we didn't know of the racism. I mean it probably still existed. We just didn't know about it. Um,
Oh, if you've seen the pictures of them and their little tiny signs of choose love, not hate that apparently are in the Detroit tap room. Yeah, we could do stories, but continue.
I recall this beer being one flavor profile, and it's not the same. And I don't know. Again, mind you, we did our show. Dan was not there because he's in Arizona, but we did the live show and at Griffin Claw at the brewery itself. And I remember drinking it, and I remember loving it, and I remember drinking it as if it was Baja Blast. I remember getting a crawler, and I remember drinking it again. But this time, I just don't feel it. Have you guys ever felt that before? Like, oh my God, this beer is not what I thought it was.
I mean, I think we've all gone through it. I don't want to even rehash the whole thing about Oberon and how Oberon apparently changes every year. But I think we all go through that. It's just it's been quite a few months since the last time I've had the blah blah burst. I would imagine that it's going to be a little bit different than I remember it, and I definitely was not completely toasted that evening. But I remember it just being really good and just like really hitting on all of those tropical flavors. But I feel like that's always going to happen as our palates just always evolve through time. It's just, it may take a year or so before all of a sudden, I've got friends who absolutely hated stouts. Just shout out to my friend Sean, who absolutely hated, Black Note Stout from Bell's. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, it was the thing that he wanted to get and always get all the time. And it's been a few months since we've had it. So I kind of feel like for myself, it's probably going to be a little bit different. But being what it is, and I think just the overall imaginary thought of it being an alcoholic Baja Blast, that I'm still going to enjoy it one way or the other.
So
I
I have
just
to say that I
go,
think
go
that
on, Wendy.
I knew I had to drive home, so I was not trashed at that show.
No,
I don't
not that
remember
long
why
drive.
that. Did it happen after?
So Nick and I actually went to the restaurant after the show.
Ah, that
And
makes more sense.
I personally stayed in the parking lot for a good hour and a half after before I even drove home. Like I'm like, all right, I need a little bit of time to let everything settle. Um, yeah, so Nick and I had a few more after the show itself. Um, but that was also a show where we were mixing too, because we were mixing
Oh yeah.
Flying Buffalo whiskey as well as beer as well as cider. Um, and then Nick and I went. We tried to get some food. That was the whole point. Is we went in there to get some food and there was no food, and we're like, well, we're here, so we might as well drink some beer.
Might as well have a beer and buy a bottle.
This was pre Brody too, so he's like,
Yeah.
I wanna get out at least once more and have a fun night before I have a kid.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um,
Before life changes. So.
for sure, and I was there to help him. That's what I was. I was his sponsor. I was his pre-father sponsor, to make sure that he had fun before he got out. But no, I I remember a very specific flavor profile, and I just don't taste it again. But it could be because now again, this was at the Griffin Claw Brewery, so I don't know if it was a different batch. I don't know if it was a different if it changed a little bit. But again, I don't know about you guys, but like this was something, and again, we only see this in small craft batches. Like we don't see this when we drinking Budweiser or Guinness or anything else we might get from Zatuna Liquor, whether it's craft or not. But it was something very specific that I had a very specific mental image, mental flavor, and I just didn't get it again. Am I talking shit? Like do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like Dan, you're laughing, but I
I
wanna.
do. It's just funny, but no, you're absolutely right, because one beer that comes to mind for me, what you're talking about, is actually Newcastle. It seems to change taste from time to time, or maybe my taste buds have changed. But you're right, the smaller beers, because it's not mass produced with the same recipe uniform every time, day in and day out. Things do change like that. So you're always going to run into something like that, or your taste buds just changed. Your palate's completely different now. So you think it tasted like something before, but your tastes have changed. So you go back, it's like, oh, this isn't as good as I thought.
Yeah, but we're talking 5 months, not necessarily like 5 years or
Yeah.
like I would expect the same flavor. And
So
again,
let me ask you this:
no,
how drunk were you when you tried it the first time?
the first time I was hammered. The
Well, that could play a
second time I was
point into it
sober.
too.
But the second time I was sober and I loved it. I still loved it.
Yeah, it's hard to say then.
So I mean I feel I don't know.
Wait,
It's a
how many drinks have you had tonight before you drank it?
Oh, so this, mind you, when I cracked open this growler was a week ago. I was not any drinks in when I had it for the first time. So this has been
How
open
old
for
was the growler?
this is a week. But when I had it sober a week ago Saturday, I did not like. I took a sip and everybody's eyes, because mind you, I asked a friend to pick this up. Therefore, they expected like my eyes to be bright and happy and oh my gosh, this is so good. And my eyes were like, this is not what I remember. So I was sober then. I was sober the first time I had it in a crowler. Um, I was hammered the first time I had it, which was at the show itself when we did the Blackgrass cider episode, and I'm definitely drunk tonight. But again, it I don't know. It tastes better a few drinks in tonight for sure, but I don't. I just that first time it was just a little bit of disappointment when I had it last Saturday.
Hmm.
Sometimes we um, pump things up so much in our minds that when we actually get it, it's not as good as we thought it would
Now
be.
I've had that theory, and I want to talk about that theory as we go through. When not Old Nation, excuse me, Arbor Brewing went through the ownership process change, and there was a summer beer fest, and I don't remember which year it was, but it was the first summer beer fest that they were back, and they had Old 22, which is their alt beer. And I remember walking in. This was, we got in with the media, so we got in early. And I remember beelining it all the way to Arbor Brewing. And sure as shit, I had it, and I'm like, this does not taste as good as I remember. Now, could it be because it was from a draft as opposed to a bottle? Because I've only had it in bottles before? Sure. But every beer is better on draft. Um,
See what you did there.
Thank you. But I just it's one of those I just don't. There are a handful of times where a beer I've had this belief of how good it is in my head, and then I've had it again and I'm like, why did I think it was so good? And I'm just curious if you guys have felt that way about a beer before and what beer it was.
I kind of wonder if it's, and I have experienced, and maybe some of you guys have experienced this as well, but there's this I don't really have a name for it, but there's this feeling that you sometimes get where you go and you see a movie that is an for you is an absolute masterpiece. You love it. You love to want to go see it again, and then you take somebody else to go see it, and then you're sitting there just kind of wondering why this person next to you is not reacting the same way you're reacting. And
Well, I was just wondering what's wrong with them.
There are two
Let's be
movies
honest.
for me, and one of them is National Lampoon's Blackball, which is
I don't even know what that is.
I've
it's
never seen that.
100% seek it out. I will figure it out how to get it for you guys. But it is so it's got Paul Kay in it, who was in Game of Thrones, Lilyhammer, um, The Stranger, I believe is the most recent TV show he was in. And it's also got Vince Vaughn, but it's a
Oh,
National Lampoon's
get my attention.
TV. It's a National Lampoon's movie about bocce ball. It's got James Cromwell in it.
God,
So it's not it's sporty, but it's not sporty. Um, so it's an
this bocce ball is super sporty.
again that's the ongoing joke of that entire movie is that how sporty like he's young and he's hungry and you see this like 75-year-old guy and you're like we're gonna talk about young and hungry later.
It's
Um,
young and bocce ball, I guess.
So it's amazing movie. But the other one is Stickman, which is a movie out of New Zealand about billiards, pool. Um, that I just love,
You
and there.
watch really weird movies.
I mean I could go even deeper than that, but when I talk about movies like if it's not a triple A movie, and I'm not trying to show like it back when I was dating years ago, like oh hey let's watch you've never seen Back to the Future, have you never seen Ghostbusters, like those are the movies that like blow Tommy Boy shit. Like those are the movies that blow my mind. But then I'm like, all right, I want to see if your comedy's on the same level as my comedy, and therefore that's where I show those movies. So I think when Rob you were talking about oh showing a movie to someone, I don't think it's necessarily how good or bad the movie is. I think it's just where your level of drama or your level of scary or your level of comedy is. Because there
Right.
there are amazing scary movies out there that someone might not like. Like Dan, are you a scary movie fan?
Not really.
No.
They're kind of boring.
So for you, you might not be a big fan of say like Paranormal Activity. Like that was a huge scary movie where everyone talked about, hey, you got to go see this movie, and Dan would be like, eh. whatever. But that's also Dan's belief on scary movies. Whereas for me, like, I want to know, all right, what level of scary movie are you at? Are we at like psychological scary? Are we at gore porn scary? Are we at like where are we at so we can meet in the middle? So I've seen
I have
garbage
a good
scary.
example of that.
Go for it, Wendy.
So, and I don't know if I should actually say this because it might age me, but I went on a
I'm like the
first
oldest one
date.
here, so you're fine.
I don't know about that. I went on a first date.
Yeah, I was there when I saw Christmas Addicts get shot. So continue.
I went
Jesus.
on a first date to a Faces of Death movie.
Oh yeah.
Those are
Oh.
funny though.
So this was back in the day, though, where if you stayed through the movie, they gave you a certificate that you made it through the movie.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
It was the very beginning, and I went on a date with this guy, and like through half of the movie, he was like cowering, like doing this with my shoulder, and I was like, oh dear God, it's just like. I mean, obviously, it was horrible that this stuff was happening, but I was like, it's not like scary stuff. Like, why are you
I don't
cowering like that?
I don't recall any like movie certificates, but I recall Faces of Death at Family Video,
Oh my
like
God.
being able to rent it. And
Yeah, no, we went to see this in the theater.
Of all places.
what's so funny
Family
though
Video.
is that so you guys laugh and I know my mother listens to this show. And what's so funny is that on my Family Video account it said no nude R's. And Faces of Death was not nude,
Nope.
no nudity.
Well,
Therefore, I was
not the one I saw.
well, okay. So maybe not the
There's
one
a
you
whole
saw, but the
series
one
about elephantitis in there.
Ken, would you rent Faces of Death and listen to some Rex in Effect right afterwards? But your
See,
mom was loving you.
You're all laughing, and Dan's bringing up, and those who've listened to the podcast before may know. I recall being banned from watching MTV because of the Rump Shakers music video, Rex and Effects. Um,
Jeez.
so yeah, that's I mean I'm the youngest one on the show. I'm 1986, and sure enough, like those are the kinds of things that and this was early MTV Spring Break, so not like the MTV Spring Break where I was old enough to understand butts and ass. Um, but again, like oh, you can't do it. But by the time that I'm watching it, it's either you're gonna listen to Limp Bizkit or Sugar Ray here on Spring Break MTV. Um,
Good.
it's well after uh, the beauty music of Two Live Crew and
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Rex.
Uncle
It's
Luke.
two times Two Live Crew's been brought up.
I guess so, yeah. Two Live.
What's the over under on Uncle Luke and Two Live Crew being mentioned tonight?
I mean,
Uh,
as a guy who's a Miami Hurricanes fan through and through, like I always remember Two Live Crew itself. Great conversation, Rob. I know we're talking about the news. I think I have a little thing that I could be like.
Here is Robert with the beer news.
so I guess.
Let's go, Rob.
Well, I guess first, because there's one thing that we still needed to take care of from a couple months ago, or actually a month ago, about having a shower beer. So I was curious, Ken, if you had fulfilled said homework assignment of having a shower beer.
I did.
All
I
right.
did. And at the initial time when we said we would have a shower beer, I said I will have a shower beer. Because Wendy was
Yes.
so
So
prominent, like it is going to change your life.
And did
Yes.
it, Ken?
What did you
So-
do before it?
so we have so now both of us have now gone through this. I have fulfilled the homework assignment, albeit a little bit late. So I guess take your 10% for your latest your tardy assignment. But I've done the shower beer, and basically the I guess the story behind it basically was that I had done a bunch of yard work. I decided, all right, I'm going to take a shower. And then I was just like, oh shit, I guess I might as well just grab a beer while I'm go ahead and doing this shower. So grab
Multitasking.
one. I did not go with your advice with this and like doing a Hefeweizen or something like that. It ended up being a New England IPA. Um,
Refreshing
and
still.
yeah, and I guess it was cold. It was this. It was that. I will simply say, basically, my review of it is no, no. Um, it is I guess for me, it is a fruitless endeavor. I am not a fan. I get what you were saying about this whole being in a warm shower and having a cold drink with you. At the same time,
You got
trying to take a
shit to
damn.
do.
I'm trying to take a shower. I'm not trying to drink a fucking beer. And I could not. I tried to be very impartial about this and tried to sit and think about, okay, what can somebody enjoy about drinking a beer in a shower? And I came up with a checklist where the checklist just said nothing. I don't get I don't understand it. I've tried it. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of it because it's just like I'm trying to take a shower. I'm not trying to get inebriated in the shower. And
Okay.
although I know that's not the whole point of having the beer in, but it's just like I don't. It's just it's not me. It certainly as hell is not me. And I tried it. I didn't care for it.
So
Okay.
hold
I
on,
have a
Wendy.
question.
Hold on, Wendy. I'm gonna explain my experience, and then you can ask all the
Okay.
questions. When I get into a shower, I want to shower, and I want to get the fuck out of there. Therefore, when I had a shower beer, I tried to relax, and I tried to be like, all right, let's let the warm
Hmm?
water go over me because it's cold, and just was drinking, and I'm like, what, I just want to get the fuck out of the shower. Like I have no want to be in the shower anymore. Like I don't like the warmth, beside the warmth around my body, like it did not add to me wanting to stay in the shower, and it did not add to me wanting to be away from the warmth. So I personally was just like, here's the shower, here's your shower beer, and I'm like, I just want to get out. Like, and I have no problem drinking outside the shower and relaxing, and you
I mean,
know
did you feel like there was an obligation that you had to finish the beer while in the shower?
no, I definitely didn't finish the beer.
Okay, because I didn't either.
I had a handful of swigs, like I'm washing myself, and I'm like, all right, let's chug a little beer.
Hmm?
I'm done, and I'm just kind of sitting in the water and relaxing. I'm like, you know what, let's drink a little beer. But none of it really relaxed me more than just sitting under the warm shower head, or uh trying, like I personally would have just rather been like, this is your reward for being in the shower. Here's this beer. Do your shower, drink the beer. Not do your shower and drink the beer.
Right. And I will also say before you jump in is that my showers are a bit different where I do have the hot water on for basically I would say the first minute and a half, and then afterwards the hot water is turned off and I am just using the cold water at that point. So I will throw that in there as well.
It totally just changed everything I was gonna ask, Rob. So first off, do you guys normally like shower with such a mission? Is there ever a time where you feel like you just are in the shower to relax?
No.
Kind of,
No,
yeah.
I grew up in pretty much a household where um, we didn't have a very large hot water tank, so it was pretty much you shower with a mission, and that kind of stuck with me. So that's just kind of the where it's been. And the only difference now is that I would probably say for like the last roughly 5 years or so is that I will have the hot water on, and then afterwards I will turn the hot water off in like 15-second intermittence where it is just then off completely.
First
And
of all,
then
why do you do that? Now, I don't actually want an answer, but why? What the fuck? Nick, I think Nick, you're one of the only people who've been like, yes, do the shower beer.
Yeah,
I
I
do
mean,
that.
I've done it, but I've just, I don't know. I did that when I was in college.
So
I do
When I was
that
when I was
Here's
because
the
showering to get
thing.
ready for a party, so I could do more drinking.
So
I will say I do that because your body temperature takes over. And if you try it, just like every 15 seconds, you turn that hot water down a little bit more, your internal body temperature will take over, and your body will not feel much of a difference when it's nothing but the cold. When you start with the hot first and then turn the hot now. Yeah, you're shaking
no,
your head like
the hot shower is my reward for being in the fucking shower in the first place. I'm not turning on the cold water. Are you kidding me?
The
Like,
only time the cold water is
even-
going on is when it's 100 degrees, like it is in Phoenix right
all
now.
right,
Even when I was
that's
in my
now
twen-
that is now
No.
your homework
Even
assignment.
when I was in my 20s,
I've done your
when they
shower
told me
beer.
I need to rinse
I-
my hair with cold water,
I've done your shower.
No.
Now that is your homework. Now you get to try and do a shower starting hot, but then every 15 seconds you turn the hot down until you get to nothing but the cold, and
dear
you
God.
see what that feels like. I'm telling you, it's kind of weird when you feel it. You don't feel much of a change. You really
So-
don't.
before we end this particular segment, I would like to point out that there's a meme that I've seen go around Facebook that is about like the 3 phases of women taking a shower. Like the one where you gotta wash your hair, the one where you gotta wash your hair and shave real quick, and then the other one where you're like, I'm all in. The shower beer is the all in shower. It is not the first 2. Like I go in showers where I am ready to get out as soon as I get in. But every now and then you take that one shower that you're like, oh, this beer is amazing.
I don't understand these options. I'm literally going clean and get out. Like I don't. Nick, I mean
But I'm not a bather either. Like I don't want to sit in a bath forever because the water gets cold and I don't like that. I like just let the hot water flow on me for a few minutes and I'm good.
Nick, you've got to deal with work and being alive and having a child. Like, what do you think?
You know what? I don't know. I can't get into the whole shower beer thing. Like I said, I did it when I was in college, when I was young and dumb, and I did it before the actual party, which would be like an hour before or even shorter. Just
So it was like
I
your
don't know.
pre-vacation beer because that's
No,
usually
no.
where
I
my
mean,
shower
well,
beer comes in.
no. I mean, Ken and Dan know that when I was in college at Wayne State, I was in a fraternity, and the first like month and a half was like every Friday night was a party, and it was a different theme. And when I was living in the house, when I would get ready, everyone was already drinking, like long before the doors open. I'm like, all right, I got a pregame to start catching up. So what did I do?
That doesn't count.
I-
That's
well-
pre-gaming.
No, well, I had to shower and get ready for the party. I'm not gonna smell like beer, okay? Because the house already does smell like beer. I'm just gonna say that. Can you-
Spelled
if you-
worse
if-
than that.
Oh, I know. If you were watching on YouTube, if you actually saw this on YouTube, just look at Ken's face when I said the house smelled like beer. He's like, it smells more like that, and something like, yeah, we know how bad it smells.
Just go to Better on Draft on Facebook, facebook.com/Better on, or excuse me, yeah, facebook.com/Better on Draft, or youtube.com/Better on Draft. You can see the video of my reactions to that, and that is for sure.
To be honest, I don't even know if they even hold parties anymore. Never mind COVID, but before COVID,
Well,
I don't even think they.
There was a whole hazing situation.
Yeah, we won't get into that, but
It's another podcast.
No one got hurt, and
And
everyone's still in the
let's you know what
fraternity.
we should do? We should bring back, remember we had a brewer here, very infamous Michigan brewer, Hazen Schumacher, and we could do hazing with Hazen, and a whole
Oh,
show
there
Do a
you go.
spin-off
with
show.
with Hazen
Oh,
Schumacher. We do
a
have a
spin-off.
spin-off video show that's going to be coming out soon called the 123 Beer Review, which is going to be as 1, 2, 3, one beer, two brewer, or excuse me, two people, three questions, and that's it. So I'm going to be hosting this, and we're going to be bringing in special guests. But it's going to be simply a beer review, but it's going to be a little bit more in depth. So me not telling you what your beer should taste like because fuck, I have a shit ass palate. I want you to understand what the brewer wants you to taste. The brewer wants you to feel. So we're going to taste it together. I might agree. I might disagree. But stay tuned for that. That's going to be only on the YouTube and the Facebook page. So youtube.com/better on draft and facebook.com/better on draft. Rob, I want one small news segment.
One small thing while my spouse is Dina is telling Wendy that everything I'm saying is an absolute lie and to not do a cold shower at all to that point. Um, she won't do it. That's okay. So one small thing, obviously, there was some news that came across this week that Saugatuck Brewing announced this past Thursday that they were buying Creston Brewing in Grand Rapids, which they had been shut down since the COVID-19 pandemic hit back in March of 2020. The sale, including all assets, licenses of Creston, is subject to final approval by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. But Saugatuck CEO Rick Gillette has declined to close the sale price, but has said that he has began his informal talks with purchasing Creston back before the purchase, or rather before shortly after rather the pandemic hit in Michigan. The one thing I guess I was really thinking about was that I don't uh, generally don't partake in a lot of Saugatuck's beers, but this is now being kind of their third location where they're going to be hosting their beers. They're still going to have Creston's lineup that is still going to be there. And I know with going out there with my brother during his bachelor party, they had kind of one of the cooler, um, uh, dang it, what the hell's the word I'm looking for? Like the sampler uh, uh,
Flight?
the flights where they were using vinyl records and record stands where you could have the flights that were sitting on there, and that was like one of the coolest things that I remember ever seeing. um so I guess I was just thinking this, like, as far as Saugatuck is concerned, I don't drink enough of Saugatuck to know where their numbers are or to pay attention to where the numbers are. But damn, if they're not just like seem like they're just snapping up places at this point, because obviously we got the regular place. I thought they bought somebody else not too long ago, and then now here comes them buying Preston. So I guess I'm just kind of curious
let's
about.
let's give you a little preface. We had Saugatuck Brewing on episode 230 back in August 8th, 2020, which you talked with PJ Gaudreau. I don't know how to say your last name. Sorry, PJ. We talked with PJ. I don't know how many PJs are there out there, but Michael Biddick too. So PJ and Michael are part of Saugatuck. This was after they had purchased Gonzo's Big Dog over in Kalamazoo,
Gonzo, that's what it was. Yes.
which they kept their vanilla Java Porter, which is a major mainstay of Gonzo's Big Dog. Um, Now, we knew, as Better on Draft, we knew about this Creston buy about a year ago. Um, but
Now it's
we
official.
it's official now, but in the same sense, like, we understood, like, we were told, hey, we're not ready to announce it yet. And I'm like, that's perfectly fine. We're not going to tell you. And that's one thing I want to tell to future brewers and breweries who discuss with us. We are not a TMZ. We are not here to put you on the spot. We are not here to make you feel like shit. We are here to spread the news. We have known about a lot of purchases and buyouts that we don't talk about just because we have been given the information and simply don't talk about it, just like Dark
Exactly.
Horse and Roke. Um, it's one of those things to where people rely on us to keep a secret and be ready for the update. So expect probably an update from Saugatuck slash um, Creston about that. We'll probably have him here on the show again to update us, as it's been almost a year since we have him on last. But I'm excited. I mean, when you have a brewery like Creston who I feel like they were one of the few breweries that just needed a lifeline, and they got it through Saugatuck.
Mhm. I mean, as long as they keep that pineapple barley wine that they did back in 2018, ooh,
But
that
here,
that that was.
if we can only imagine Saugatuck's purchase of Creston based on Saugatuck's purchase of Gonzo's Big Dog and make it as Saugatuck's purchase of Creston, we're gonna get the best of Creston within the Saugatuck brand now.
Mhm. But I
I
kind
am.
of wonder with a lot of the when you start to see the craft brewing companies buying other craft brewing companies, it it still kind of leaves that little nugget in my head, like, are they buying these craft breweries because they know that they are at a disadvantage and they're making better beer than Saugatuck is, and therefore if I get a chance to buy them up, that I get to buy them up so that I can have their catalog because it might be better than my own. I I don't know. I just like I said, just a weird thought that's in my head. But as long
American
as they
dream.
keep every what was that?
It's the American dream.
It I
Nobody
mean,
nobody starts a brewery to have just that one little brewery. And I guess that's not true. There might be some people that do. But the whole point of the American dream is to be able to start this idea and make it grow. So why wouldn't they buy out those other breweries that might need some help?
Well,
And it could help them.
I think
I,
one Saugatuck has the beer clout to back its buying power, because while it's not your, when we think of beer clout in Michigan, we think of Dragon's Milk, we think of Griffin Clout, we think of all these barrel aged beers, and they had their barrel aged beer, in the sun, the Neapolitan Milk Stout barrel age, which everyone knows about.
yep.
But for them, I think they've always made smart business decisions. So in Douglas, which Douglas is a traveling um, industry, like people go to Douglas, and they're not even near the water, so people go to them before they go to the water, go towards the water. So they have the ability for people to come in, check it out. And when it got to Gonzo's Big Dog, they had the money to spend in Gonzo's, which is in downtown Kalamazoo, easy for everyone to go within everyone's walking tour. And when you move to Creston, and I mean, Creston's not in that same walking tour esque as Gonzo's Big Dog, but when you have a lifeline and a site and an ability to purchase a brewery, I mean, you just got to purchase the brewery. I hear someone typing.
Sorry, that was.
Not me. Not me. But yeah, I get that. And yeah, it's not necessarily on the Grand Rapids path. I know when I was taking my brother and his friends out to doing our brewery tour during going through different breweries for his bachelor party, that it was a little bit off. But it was kind of a good part of being off the beaten path because there weren't too many breweries that were really out there to begin with. So it was a good spot. It was a good spot.
It was definitely good, and I think Saugatuck will be able to bring Saugatuck beer as well as Creston beer there too. Because
Yeah.
I feel like Saugatuck isn't going to purchase the area unless they can get the recipes. Now, if they can
Mhm.
duplicate the recipes and make everything good, perfect, great for them. And you can be able to make you can still make a brewery tour with them, but it's not a walking tour. And
Right.
from there, that's the big thing. But
Yeah.
um, that's the news. I know it's short, sweet, to the point. We talk too much about this blah blah blurst and shower beers for sure. Um, but we are excited, guys. Creston, Saugatuck, Gray Line, Mitten Brewing Company, City Built, Jolly Pumpkin. You know where you can find these places? On the Michigan Brewery Map app. It is free to use, iOS and Android. Go check it out. Guys, do you know what the next update's going to have? Because I'm so excited about this. The next update, you're going to be able to search by days open. So if you're going
No.
to a city like Grand Rapids, Traverse City, Detroit, wherever that has a shit ton of breweries, and you're like, I want, especially if it's a Monday, but if you're going, you can search by brewery hours. It could be like, hey, oh, it's a Tuesday and I'm going to be in Grayling. What's open around me? And I can make that search. Just like that, every single brewery that you select on, it's going to have the hours of operation. So you're going to be able to see from Google onto our website, or excuse me, onto our application, what's going to be open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you're going to be able to see their hours. But again, this is one of the best updates that I'm pushing on this map app. Guys, it's free for you to use. It's literally dirt cheap for these breweries to advertise on here just to make me a little bit black, but trust me, I'm in the red. Um, but
What
but
you
I,
mean black?
Oh boy.
if I could mute you, I would,
Oh
because
boy.
I would. Um,
Hi, Matt.
but again, free for you to use Michigan Brewery Map app, iOS and Android. Download it, use it. Tell me what you want to see, because this whole thing is to get your fucking asses into the seats of breweries. The whole point, except for you, Dan. Um, you're in Arizona. I'll talk with Eric and making
You
a.
could still come and hang out.
I mean, yeah, Dan, I still got your Dragon's Milk whiskey in my
I assumed you drank it. I'm not
cupboard.
gonna lie.
No, 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 no. I have I have your Teku glasses. I have everything. Just
Wow, I'm impressed.
why are you impressed? It's your shit. I'm not an asshole like
It's been
someone.
it's been like a year.
So?
Well, come visit Michigan then.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, Dan. This is your fault.
My
Wait,
bad.
what temperature is it there right now?
It's about 85.
Yeah, why the fuck would he want to come here?
He'll
We're
want to
all
come
gonna
here.
come visit you. We should do a remote show in Arizona. I'm just
That's a
saying.
good point.
I mean, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here.
I'm in. Let's do it.
I'm planning my birthday trip. I'm going to Maine.
Oh, it's a fun
Nice.
time up
Oh,
there.
can I talk about my birthday trip?
Sure, why not?
I am going to the WeldWorks Invitational 2021.
Ooh.
Which she will be covering for Better on Draft.
I am super excited.
Nice.
So my birthday, which will come before, so it's more important. Um,
Oh. What a jerk.
yeah, going to Maine. I'm hoping, if this whole, mind you, as everyone who has listened to the show like years and years and years, I used to work for Toast Point of Sale. If their IPO comes out,
Did you?
oh yeah, I did. And if their IPO comes out, the five of us here are going to be having a fun time in some random city, probably Denver during GABF. All compliments of me. Um, so definitely stay tuned. GABF is canceled 2021 for in person, so hopefully 2022 I have all of it. For Dan, I know you're in Phoenix. I'm gonna be going to Vegas here soon.
Be there in a
But
couple of weeks.
that's going to do it. Better on Draft Podcast. Stay tuned for the King of the Hill. And Wendy's, just leave now if you need to go get something. But that's going to do
Oh,
it.
I already took care of that.
Better on Draft Podcast. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's Better on Draft. Have a good night.
Peace.